How can we manifest relationships with the Taoist concept of Wu Wei? Hi, my name is Leah Chantel. Welcome back to my channel. And today I'm talking about the Taoist concept of Wu Wei, or an action, in terms of manifesting our relationships. So we often get the timing and the energy of our relationships wrong. Either we're taking too much action or too little action, and it's all at the wrong time. And that's why we can't manifest relationships. So I'll give you the first scenario to kind of illustrate the balance between taking action and remaining passive and how it helps us manifest the relationships we want. So here's a negative example of being too passive. If you want a relationship, but you can't even admit to yourself that you want one, and you sit inside your home and you live by yourself with all the doors and windows closed and you just watch TV all day, every day, then that's too much Wu Wei. That's too much passivity, and you're never going to get out and meet anybody doing that. However, Wu Wei is really powerful in manifesting relationships because we tend to take too much action at the wrong time as intuitive, sensitive people. So we tend to fall in love with people when we get to know them and we really connect on a soul level. However, the other person, especially if they're five sensory, may not have the same feeling of connecting on a soul level. And so you have to be really careful about that. We don't want our soul connection to be one-sided. So I'll give you an example, scenario number 2. Let's say you are getting to know somebody and you've had a couple of good conversations or a couple of good dates, and then you start talking about everything that's happened in your past, why your last relationship didn't work out, and then your hopes and dreams for marriage, and you're really oversharing. So this is when you want to look into the concept of Wu Wei. Just before you overshare and talk too much about your goals or the negative past you may have survived, that's when you want a dose of passivity. If you feel like you're talking too much about yourself, and that can be really tempting, especially when the other person is being strategic and asking a lot of questions, that's when we need to practice self-restraint and self-discipline. That's when we truly need Wu Wei. And we have to be extremely mindful about how we share about our past. It's okay to have mistakes. It's okay to have failed relationships. Everybody does. However, how you talk about them and how you shape the story or how long you tell the story, these are all the things that are going to make or break the next connection. And so you want to practice a bit of Wu Wei when somebody asks you a question about yourself. You want to answer them, but don't say too much. Don't get caught up in the story of whatever happened in the past. You can give them a succinct answer and then ask about them, And that's where Wu Wei can be very powerful, especially when we're developing feelings. And as sensitive intuitives, we want to also be careful about intimacy. I've said in previous videos that really we're the only ones who can judge when to be intimate, and we can follow our true heart on that one, and it's trustworthy. However, we can get intimate too quickly. And when we do that, what happens is we believe that there's a soul connection there, but the other person may not be feeling that soul connection. It's the same with deep conversation. Whether it's deep conversation or intimacy, we might feel that there's more there than there really is, because that's how we fall in love as six sensories, but it's not how five sensories necessarily fall in love. They tend to fall in love more through adventurous experiences and by taking control and calling the shots and feeling powerful. When they feel powerful, that's when they're more likely to fall in love. And if we understand that as six sensories, what we need to do is listen to five sensories and allow them their space, allow them their needs to be met. And when we're able to do that, that's when they're most likely to turn around and meet our needs as six sensories. Having said that, when I say most likely, realistically speaking, we're very likely going to need our needs met in other places other than the relationships of these five sensory people, because to a certain extent, they're not six sensory, and they're probably never going to be capable of meeting our needs fully as six sensories. Does that mean we go around and cheat? Not at all. It just means we need to have deep and meaningful friendships around us with other six sensory people. And when we do that, that's when we have everything in life. We understand our five sensories, we can support them and be a little bit more passive in order to meet their needs. And then we can go all out and share everything when we're with our six sensory friends. And that's where Wu Wei becomes really important. And I see this a lot where people are oversharing. They're saying we need to communicate, we need to have words of affirmation, we need to do this and we need to do that in our relationships. And whatever it is you think you need, if you're like going on and on and on about it in your relationship, that is not Wu Wei. That is not the Taoist or the very clever way of navigating your relationships as six sensory. It's better to understand that what your needs are for yourself and find a way to meet your needs yourself or through your friendships. If you're lucky enough to have six sensories around you as friends, for a lot of places and a lot of societies, it's 99% five sensories, and it's not always easy to find six sensory friends. However, they are out there. You can find them almost anywhere, but they're extremely rare. And if you can't find them locally, then consider joining a community, joining a group. I have a free Facebook group that's all about self-love. That's a great way to find other six sensory friends. And I'll pop that into the description box below so you can join. And that way you can meet other six sensory friends. If you're looking to practice Wu Wei in your relationships, how do you practice? How can you get sharper at practicing passivity and listening to the other person rather than getting caught up in your own story? Well, when you're single, I think it's a great opportunity to go out on as many dates as you can and get as much practice as you can talking to people and get good at listening to other people and allowing space for their needs and see which person is the best fit for you. But having said that, dating is a really, really amazing experience in getting you better at practicing the skill of Wu Wei, because you'll encounter all kinds of people who will ask things from a lot of different angles. You may get good at dealing with one kind of person and practicing Wu Wei with one type of person, but then maybe another type comes along and then you start talking and rambling about yourself again. And so you need to practice Wu Wei more on different types of people to get a good sense of how it works. However, it's challenging because most of us really want attention and validation subconsciously. And so practicing the opposite of Wu Wei can be really, really challenging. But it's an amazing practice of discipline. And when you're able to kind of curb your own story, your intuition actually gets stronger, and then you're better at manifesting the right partner for you because you're getting a more clear picture from your subtle senses if the person is a good fit for you or not. Because you're not going on about yourself, you're actually paying closer attention to them.